Hey, welcome to Tarot Combos. We're going to draw two cards and really explore what we feel about those energies today. Same two cards may feel completely different on another day. So I'm always curious what's with us here right now. Thank you for being here. Today is Wednesday, February 25th. Let's see. Okay. Ooh. Ooh, we're gonna get real. The devil is here with it. What's here with us today? Oh, just the devil. That's all. Oh my God. I had it. Oh, I did have. Okay. Challenged by the Nine of Swords. Okay. I got to put these somewhere where I'll remember. I'm getting ready to go out of town, and I guess I'll be doing these back just from my phone over the next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 5 days I'll be gone. And I want to take this deck, so I'm going to put that right there so I remember. Anyway, holy moly. The devil challenged by the Nine of Swords. This is all about what our mind is doing to us. And there's going to be a silver lining, there is. There's always a beautiful lesson in how the in tarot in general. And I think that's why I love it, because it speaks to all the truths. People might only, they call it reading upright or in reverse. I like to read all of it because to me, the fundamental nature of reality, fundamental nature of like ultimate truth is paradox. All truths are true. I know it sounds weird, but at the highest level, everything can coexist. And what I think, and I didn't realize I was going to talk about this because I haven't really put it into words so much, but let's do it real time together. Like the both and, the both and versus the either or. Either or feels like old, we're getting rid of that way of thinking. Do you feel like, because you're here, I think you do feel this way? Or let me imagine you do. That you feel this shift happening with humanity. It feels big. I mean, look at our political system. We don't want to talk politics here, but look at it. Things are like over time, things are just like intensifying into either or thinking, black or white. You're either with me or against me, and there's like this great divide happening. And it's been happening. Like, go back any point in history, you can see some element of this, some amount of it. And then it feels like in my lifetime, and it could be my flawed perspective, things are just like intensifying and separating to the point where it's like we don't even recognize each other anymore. We just know that whatever side we're on, the other side feels scary and wrong. So, man, I didn't know. Maybe that's part of the reading, but it feels like this either or way of thinking about things, not letting things coexist. This is not letting things coexist. This is the like severe anxiety card of tarot. The beauty in this message, like I said, Silver Lining Tarot teaches us that there are lessons in everything, is that if we can settle this chaos making machine, that it has good reason to make chaos. It feels unsafe. There's threat everywhere to this thinking. To this person, there's like threat everywhere. So the mind takes charge and says, don't worry, I got you. I'm going to make this safe. And we're going to make sure we're going to be hyper vigilant. We're going to think about every potential outcome that might happen so that we're prepared. Like, this is the anxiety making machine of the mind. Then this person feels like completely defeated at some point. That energy of anxiety just it can be crippling. The silver lining of this card is that if we can settle this and kind of look up from this, like see how they're kind of like head and hands. If we can settle this, and we're able to, again, God, this has been a theme lately, taking in more of our surroundings. Like, oh, there's more safety feeling online. There's less threat in my system. There's less threat detecting going on. Now, the detecting's always going on, but the threat, like the unsafety, the chaos making is like settling. As long as I can be aware of what's happening, first of all, acknowledge it, be aware of it, accept, okay, yes, I get what this thing does. Like, however you come to an understanding of like, oh, it is my own mind making the mess. It's not anything out there. The world does what the world does, but it's my perception of the world that's creating all this anxiety and resistance and tension energy. And if I can take kind of some, I don't like the word control, you know that, but it's like if I can get some agency back, then I can work with that. I can work on myself. I can notice when I'm activated by what I perceive out there and recognize it's all in here. And I actually do have some influence over that. Okay. So that's the silver lining, is like when things feel so out of our control. So like when we go to social media or a news story, we see a headline or we see other people reacting to things and we're like, their reactions like triggering me, you know. Oh, I saw a cat. Hi, welcome. Okay. He takes a while. Agador just like jumps up here. Jellybean's like has to meow about it for a while. So this is like the silver lining, is we have some influence over this, which then changes our perspective of the outside world. So what I was saying is like when we go to social media or the news or we see headlines or we react to other people's reactions and it's just like this chaos making machine, and then we feel like, oh, I got to put my voice in there. I got to say something. I have a hot take on this. What's that actually doing? Does it make you feel better? Maybe. I know it never did me. Ultimately, like if I would do that and then I shut down social media and later I'm just like, I still have it. It didn't go anywhere. It might have grown actually. So, but maybe that's a question this card's really pointing to, is like to like come from the silver line, like come to the awareness that you do have influence over this. But it does mean detaching from that chaos making machine. When we add more of our energy into it, even just a little quip of like, yeah, I feel that way too, you know, that might be, you might be thinking, oh, I'm doing it because I want to connect with people. I want to validate people, you know, but it's like, really? Is that what it is? I don't know. It just always felt like oh, this energy wants to go up and out. It wants to do something. Maybe the way to get it out is to like blah, add to the noise. We talked about distortion in the last video. It's like when there's resistance, things come out as distortion. So if I feel something that's creating this like drive, this motivation to add to the noise, is it going to be more distortion, more noise to the noise, which then amplifies distortion? What would be something your authentic self, your true self would actually rather do instead of add more distortion and noise to the chaos? I don't know. That's for each of us to decide. For me, I had to completely step back. And I don't know when that happened exactly. I don't know when. I'm thinking politics specifically, but there was a point where I was like all in on my drive in LA. Like I was spending so many hours on the freeway. I probably told you this already. I was listening to political commentary all the time. I told you this, didn't I? Because I'm so proud of myself for like, not really anymore, but like Rachel Maddow, when she blew up, I had already disconnected. I had already stepped out of the political commentary like consumption. And I was like, Rachel, she's my little 3 a.m. morning radio host for political, where I get my political news. And now she's like a name brand on major network television. And she was just on this little independent radio called Air America Radio. And even then, it was less independent than it was. She started even more independent than that. But at this awful hour, like who in the hell is on the 405 at like 3 a.m.? Or like 4 or 5 a.m. a lot of times, but sometimes earlier. And I was like, so anyway, sorry, side quest. But that was like, I was in it and I felt all the, and it just added like, and then I would say things and I was just like, oh, I don't feel better. Feel worse. And yeah, but it's like when we identify so heavily with a side, that's what I mean. Like sides, if you're taking a side on something, doesn't that feel, it feels like, oh, I'm with others who feel like we're all in this together. And that can be a beautiful thing until it's not. I guess it depends for each person. Do you feel like if by taking a side, do you feel like you're adding more distortion, or by you taking this side, you're trying to settle the distortion within that side? Maybe that's a way to think about it. Like, how are you counteracting the distortion with your own regulation on board? Like, okay, I'm fully regulated and I still feel so strongly about this thing, but from a different place, through a different lens. Now I feel like I can be more impactful from a more authentic, aligned, coherent place, so that my peeps, I'm like the counterbalance. I'm helping settle the distortion so that we can have a greater impact on the world. We can create the world we want to see. Oh, that feels good. So it all still comes back to our personal sense of agency and influence over ourselves, to remove our distortion, to settle our resistance. Okay, so that's just one card. The devil. The devil being in the primary position. Whew, it feels like we are chaining ourselves to something. Like it feels like we do this to ourselves. The devil isn't about some mythical creature that looks like our traditional depictions of the devil. The devil is our self-sabotage. Our how are we keeping ourselves trapped, chained up, just limited, small, in anxiety? What is it in our life where we feel like that's happening? Because he's right here. There's something that feels like we don't want it to be happening, but it's here with us. There might be just some little piece that feels like, yeah, but I can't help myself. I can't help myself in making the comment, that keeps me in this cycle of like, oh, not really settling the distortion, just adding more distortion. Where is that happening in life? For me, I hope it's not these videos. That's not my intention. I hope to be maybe part of settling distortion, or helping people settle the distortion, settle the resistance to help eliminate more distortion in the system. That's my goal. Now, if it's not landing, that's my refinement. I'm working on that. Now, but I'm trying to understand like where he shows up in my life. I have some ideas. I I feel like I worked really hard on my relationship with my husband, um, that where I don't want to add, like when I feel unregulated and I just can't help myself from saying the thing I always say, or like, I worked really hard on that, and we've talked about it. Like we know that there's been a difference. I feel like though sometimes there's still moments I can't help myself, and then I'm like, I feel like there was a cartoon depiction of that happening where it's like something comes out and they're trying to like pull it back in. So it's like it's a process. So, but I feel like that can happen in more than just my primary relationship. It's like I can't help sometimes of like over explaining or talking something away from somebody's experience because I just love thinking about things and I love like connecting dots in it. But it's like I've worked so hard on like trying to let people do that themselves because that's what I truly believe. Again, going back to the higher self, like we have our north star of a way we feel about things, and then the distortion like separates us from that. And so sometimes I feel that happening with my big old mouth. Just gotta shut it sometimes. And then the after effect is me having anxiety, like the contraction experience of like, oh, I did it again. Oh. So where does that show up for you? So something here is like, why would the card of the anxiety be in the challenging the devil? Maybe it's asking us like everything we've talked about today for the it's like a maybe a wake up call to say, oh, I am adding more distortion, not meaning to, because my higher self, like my best version of myself, however you want to think about it, my aligned self, my authentic self does not want that. So why can't I help myself? So maybe that's the title of this reflection. Why can't I help myself? I don't know, because this feels like we're doing it to ourselves. We keep ourselves bound up in these ways that we like just for like, oh, I did it again. I just want to stop. And it's like this card is calling for us to recognize that pattern, really own it, really just say, oh, yeah, that's what I do. It shows up in these ways, in these circumstances, and I do it. And like with compassion, say, it's okay. That too can coexist, and I will acknowledge it, and I will help settle my resistance to remove the distortion from here on out. And I'll be okay when it shows up again and it happens again because I'm doing better. Like it's like why can't I help myself? And then it's like pointing a finger to say, do better. And you're saying, okay, I will. Not in a shameful way, just like calling ourselves out and say, do better, and then owning it and saying, yeah, I want to do better. I will do better. I am doing better. I love that. It's so practical, isn't it? See, tarot doesn't have to be woo-woo. So I think that's it. I better go because I have more packing to do. Do you know what? I'm an overpacker. What I've noted, I just always have been. And I've traveled a lot. Like being a consultant before this life, I was a lot of years in an airplane, always in an airport. So I got really good at packing. And now that I don't do that anymore, I'm back to overpacking. So I'll pack early just so that I can unpack half of what I packed, giving myself time to unpack. I hear a cat that got locked in my husband's office. It happens all the time. It's Agador. I got to go set him free. He's just so sweet and quiet. He sneaks into a room after us. And then we leave the room not knowing he's even in there. And then like an hour later, we hear, hey guys, I'm here. So I got to go let him out. Have a wonderful week. Bye.